think they're sometimes more intuitive, and they're definitely more compassionate. And I know this because I have lived in hospitals my whole life. I have a rare disorder. It's Poland syndrome, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. But it doesn't define me. I want to say, you know, I was born with a rare disorder. Oh, hey, a rare disorder. I can hold two things. I'm in a nursing conference. I can't even help a girl out, right? So I have a rare disorder, but that's not who I am. I am just Steph, and I am just a girl, sometimes a little girl, and you know, I go back to that sometimes with the things I have to deal with in my life every day. But I am just a girl who loves deeply, lives passionately, and I believe in magic. So I want to do a little something today. I want to get you a little moving just for a little second, so I hope you don't mind. We're going to count off in tens, and I'd like everybody who's a number 10 to stand up. So we're going to just, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stand. Please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Please stand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I get you? Did I get you? 9, 10. 10 back there, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 in 10 people has a rare disorder or a rare disease. So, this many people in this room would potentially have a rare disease or a rare disorder. So, I'll sit down. So, you get that. In this small room, we have a lot of people with rare diseases. There's 7,000. So, I'm going to get up here and show you some of my statistics. There are 7,000 rare diseases. So basically 1 in 10. So by a show of hands, how many people in this room actually have a rare disease or a rare disorder? How many people know somebody with a rare disease or a rare disorder? 1, 2. How many of you have seen patients with rare diseases or rare disorders? There you go. So basically, you can see that it affects a lot of people, rare diseases. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, I'm just somebody who cares about patients because I am one, and I go into doctors' offices for something routine like a colonoscopy. And they go, remind me what that is again? Or, besides the hand, what else is wrong with you? So, Poland syndrome, basically, it affects 1 in 20,000 people, newborns, females. It affects the left side more than the right. And basically, they don't know the cause, except that maybe during the 6th week of gestation, blood flows diminish from one side of the body, than the other, and so it stops the growth. It affects the hands, sometimes the pectoral muscles. There's various degrees of Poland syndrome. syndrome. Some people have a problem with the hand, some people have just a breast issue, some people have both. And some people have missing ribs, they have a problem with their leg or hip. It's varied. But what isn't varied is how people deal with it, and how I see even in social media the suffering that happens. Even with Palermo syndrome, where I feel very blessed and lucky because I'm not sick, but I did suffer. A lot of pain, physical pain and emotional pain. Okay, so a lot of these statistics are American, they're US based, but there's some, it actually spans the globe. So all of these statistics, it's very common, it's almost the same everywhere. What's very different, and I find this amazing, is that the healthcare coverage is what varies greatly. America is lacking in taking care of its patients. So there's a lot less help with American, insurance companies and coverage. So there's a lot of suffering there financially. So Europe has approximately 30 million people living with rare diseases. It's estimated that 350 million people worldwide suffer from rare diseases. If all the people with rare diseases lived in one country, it would be the world's third most populous country. So there's so many people suffering with rare diseases. And what's sad is doctors don't know what to do. People go into doctors' offices and they don't get treated properly. The medication is not there, and they don't get diagnosed properly. There may be even more people with rare diseases, but they don't even know because they're misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all. Rare diseases and disorders affect more than patients. They affect caregivers, family members, friends, employers, and co-workers, as well as the medical professionals. So what you have to realize is, and this is what, this is how a lot of people think, at least Americans, it does affect the bottom line. Because when you have sick people, they're not going to work. Rare disease patients suffer with anxiety and depression. They're scared. Imagine if you had a child with a rare disorder and you're driving down the street and your child's in the back seat and you go by a playground and all the kids are playing but they can't play. So many of the patients, of rare disease patients, are children. Most of those won't live till their 5th birthday. Those children suffer immensely when they're in their classrooms. I know, I lived it. I had lots of surgeries growing up. I had surgeries where, I had bones taken out of my toes and put in my hand so I could get, better use of my hand. And I had all kinds of skin grafts and bone grafts and all kinds of stuff. And I used to have to go back to the classroom with like a big, all of my, and everyone's like, what happened to you? And it was always so traumatic for me. And as human beings, we all want to feel some sort of connection. That's what we want. We want to feel connected. Connected to one another, to our families, to our friends, and to the universe. And when you have a rare disease or disorder, you can't imagine how disconnected you feel. Let me just read this quote. The most difficult experiences have been my anxiety, depression, the inability to cope with stressful situations, and physical complaints associated with my disorder. This is just a U.S. Rare disease patient. You don't realize it. I mean, things like peeling potatoes are difficult for me. It's difficult for me. I drop the blow dryer just about every day, trying to blow dry my hair. Being different, struggling with day-to-day tasks that like putting on my makeup and doing my hair, taking care of my babies, I was terrified. I was going to drop my babies. And I just think I wanted to bring this to all of you so that as nurses, you can understand the heart of rare disease patients. And when you see them come into your doctor's offices, because rare disease patients spend more time at doctors. So for every doctor, there's a nurse, or two, or three. And as nurses, you have an obligation to care for the whole patient, I believe. How many here are pediatric nurses? Do we have any pediatric nurses? Tiffany? So we have a few pediatric nurses. I remember being in the hospital. I was in Georgetown Medical Center in Washington, D.C., where my parents found a specialist in Washington, D.C. back when I was young in the 70s. And he was doing stuff to me that was innovative at the time, that's probably old school now. But I came out of a surgery, I went in and he broke my bone in my arm and put in a vise, and every day we had to turn the vise till it hurt to make my arm longer. But when I went in for that surgery, I had come out, and I had just come out of surgery, and it was a teaching hospital. And the doctor called up to the nurses' station and asked my mom to go down and talk to the medical students. The nurse made a mistake. She sent me. They put me in a wheelchair with the anesthesia, arm up with the ice, and they put me in the middle of a circle of medical students like a sideshow freak. And I was getting stared at. And for me, that, like, I look back at it and I was an adult and I see these were people that were learning, but as a child, I was traumatized. Try not to make those kind of mistakes, nurses, because it can be really traumatic for a child. And I remember there was a nurse, she was all disheveled. She must have done, now as an adult I can look back and say she must have probably did 3 shifts in a row. But she scared me because she was a mess. And I remember her being like, she had to give me my shots, and she was just rough. And I thought, and I was terrified of her. So as pediatric nurses, I ask you to try to be sensitive to children, because they're very, they have imaginations. You don't know what kids are thinking. I reached out to NORD, which is the National Organization of Rare Disorders in the United States. They do a lot of lobbying for rare disorder patients, and they do some advocacy. to have a statement for you, and they gave me a couple. The problem experienced by individuals and families affected by rare diseases are remarkably similar around the world. For that reason, and because we believe it's extremely important to connect the rare disease community, NORD works closely with partner organizations around the world. We have formal affiliations with Eurotas in Europe, if I say it correctly, the Japan Patients Association, and Rare Diseases International. So that's a statement from NORD, and they were excited for me to come here and sort of represent. So rare disease patients' options are very limited. They worry more, they feel more depressed, they interact less, they isolate, all the things that go along with depression. In the US, it takes 7.6 years to diagnose a patient, a rare disease patient. The Brits have it over us. They're diagnosing in 5.6 years. The average patient visits 4 primary care doctors and 4 specialists and receives 2 to 3 misdiagnoses. I had the privilege and honor to speak at Rare Disease Day at the Georgia State Capitol last year, and the coordinator, Beth, she has a rare disease that if she had been diagnosed properly, she wouldn't be dying right now, heart failure, and she walks with the lung, the oxygen on her back and all of that, and she suffers terribly. And those who care for people with rare diseases also reported delays and missteps, the caregivers don't quite know what to do. So whether you're a nurse caregiver or a parent or somebody that's helping a rare disease patient, you suffer right along with those patients. Rare diseases require a great deal of time, financial costs, and patient education. Additional research funding is sorely needed, and the problem is they don't talk about rare diseases anywhere, and they don't research them because there's not enough people. It's not like cancer or heart disease with this money flowing. And from the standpoint of the insurance companies, and this is from in the United States, because I think the United States is lagging in this area, there is a reluctance of insurance companies to pay for certain treatments and tests for rare diseases they feel are not proven. So a lot of people have to die before they start paying for treatments. When I was young, I was raised pretty poor. We didn't have a lot of money. I lived in the suburbs of Boston, and my parents found a specialist who was in Washington, D.C., and my father reached out to the March of Dimes for help. They refused him. % of United States rare disease patients incur direct medical expenses not covered by insurance. That number is 31% in the UK. 37% have to borrow money from family or friends to pay for expenses, 18% in the UK. 32% of Americans have negatively affected their credit score, and 10% in the UK. 23% in the US needed to use their money for retirement funds, 10% in the UK. So, why am I here? What's important here? Why do I talk to nurses about this? What can you do? Well, I know that rare diseases get little time in medical school, and I don't know how much time in nursing school you spend on rare diseases, but I ask you to maybe get a broad education on rare diseases. I think it's difficult. I don't know how you would on 7,000 rare diseases that very, few people have, but whatever it is, be aware. Be aware when people come in and have odd symptoms that just don't add up. And here's one. Understand and accept the patient may know more than you do. The patient knows what's going on in their body, and please don't invalidate what they're saying. Validate patients' sufferings, feelings, and experiences. Empower them and work in partnership with them to ensure effective, efficient, and timely care. And advocate when necessary. I know doctors can be hard-headed. You got it. A lot of times nurses, you got it going on, you know what's happening. Demonstrate compassion, which flows from love of our fellow human being. And NORD has this to say to you. NORD considers nurses to be extremely important members of the care team because they work so closely with patients and families and can provide emotional as well as medical support. We're developing some new resources for nurses and nursing students for our website now. So this is their website if you want to take it down, rarediseases.org. And I know there's a bunch of links there too. And just a quick story before I read this little passage. Last year in Boston held its first Rare Disease Film Festival, and I presented a film, and I had to speak. And at the beginning, before we were doing photo shoots and all of that, and they said to me, "Here, you want to hold this?" And it was these big letters that were together, big styrofoam letters that spelled out #disorder. I said, "No, I'm not holding that. You want me to hold a sign that says disorder? What about #perfect? My whole life I was humiliated, mocked, mistreated, abandoned, and rejected, and you want me to hold a sign that says #disorder? How about #stupid? That's what I felt like telling them. When you tell somebody that isn't so cute, #ugly, really? That's not nice. So I named my talk #perfect. You don't want to get a Boston girl mad. So this is from Don Miguel Ruiz and Don Jose Ruiz, the authors of The Fifth Agreement. We keep searching for perfection, and in our search, we find that everything in the universe is perfect except the humans. The sun is perfect, the stars are perfect, the planets are perfect. But when it comes to the humans, nobody's perfect. The truth is that everything in creation is perfect, including humans. If we don't have the awareness to see this truth, it's because we are blinded by the lie. You may say, what about someone who is physically disabled? Is that person perfect? Well, according to what you know, that person may be imperfect. But is what you know the truth? Who says that what we call a disability or even a disease isn't perfect? Everything about us is perfect, including any disability or disease that we may have. Someone with a learning disability difficulty is perfect. Someone born without a finger or an arm or an ear is perfect. Someone with a disease is perfect. Only perfection exists. And that awareness is another important step in our evolution. To say otherwise is not to have the awareness of what we are. And it is not enough to say that we're perfect. We need to believe that we are perfect. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? I can't answer like medical questions, but I can answer. And you can follow me on social media. And I got a lot of my stuff, my credits here. I want to make sure I give credit. Any questions?
Thank you very much. This is really a touchy story and touchy presentation. Actually, I have a lived experience. It's not because rather than community sharing, saying I got a gift from God, a disabled child, maybe perfect child. I got a daughter born with a very rare disease, as you said, is Edward syndrome disease. So now we have about 5 years experience where almost all the stories, the experience you had, but from family as well as seeing this child now, she's about 4.5 years, but her body weight is 4 kg. The time when she born, we were not aware until the time of the discharge came to take my wife and my Yulia. Then I got called that this baby should go back to an ICU because she has inquiries that she probably had a genetic problem. And then surprisingly, after another 24 hours, I got the knowledge that she's potential. She has Edward syndrome. So it was another shocking news that they need to do some genetic testing to see the chromosome and all the issues as such. And then we had to wait for another 10 weeks in major stress. And then we got the confirmation that she is. And then the doctor said, well, she's probably going to have a life of 1 month to maximum 3 months. Then it was a shock to hear such breaking bad news in such way. And we had a major traffic experience, tough experience. In fact, me and my wife, although my wife was also a nurse, but we had to learn a lot. We were working on, trying to find some people who have the same experience as such, and we felt lonely actually with this rare disease, and we don't know how to deal with it. But one day we came in for examination, all of the appointments with the physician. He said, "This is still alive. I cannot forget in this time." And how this lack of empathy, and this is my comment, empathy is not just to have a feeling, because we as health professionals sometimes we cannot see what patients in, except either we have the experience or we use our compassion, our empathy, a real meaning. And this meaning should be not only empathy that we see the vulnerability of patients and their family, but rather we see it and we understand it and then we have the feeling. But most importantly is to have the empathic feeling.
Right. And
this goes with our reactions, our interactions, and the way we express, present ourselves, or even interact or approach. I touch experience when you have all this dilemma and this tragedy in life. But the point is how we can see it, how we can acknowledge the vulnerability of patients. That will help us to see their dignity and what they need in terms of integrity, and then we can give them the best care that they deserve. So thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a comment about that. I think what medical professionals forget is that people are not experiments, and that we
have flesh and blood and a heart, real hopes, real fears, real dreams, real desires, real needs, real wants. So, you know, that goes to, you know, sort of go along with what you were saying. I'm sorry that happened. But, you know, that's what I wanted to, you know, exactly what I wanted to come across, you know, get across to all of you as nurses, is that you have to remember we're just not, we're not, you know, that cadaver, you know, we're not just this empty body that doesn't have anything going on. So thank you for your story, thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Thank you. Oh, you do, I'm sorry, go ahead.